Yo, yo, my name is Desi. Welcome to another episode of the Art Realm. It might be kind of noisy because I'm standing on a lot of leaves. It's a lot of leaves out here. I'm gonna do my best to stay still, but I like to move. So, this is basically where I heal on camera. Today, the big thing I want to talk about is this kind of mix about being seen, visibility, finding comfort in that, and maybe why it might be difficult to find comfort in that. What all that really means energetically, and maybe how we can heal it. Authenticity, being who you are, letting yourself come through and shine through in the things that you do and the way that you move throughout the world versus the kind of instinct, survival instinct to assimilate or mirror what's around you. Even if you're not trying to mirror what's around you, maybe you're trying to do something novel and big, but you're still kind of using that social vantage point. You're still kind of observing and scanning what's around and letting that inform how you move, which is still not ideal because it's not acting from your center. So I think that's the biggest thing. And that kind of actually touches on the theme of all of this. All of this comes down to not being connected to your center and how that changes absolutely everything, literally. If we can learn to gain access to our centers and sustain that space, sit in that space, explore that space, and move throughout the world in that space, we'll be living as our more authentic selves, and our art and our work will be way better for it. So firstly, fear of being seen. A content creator, a YouTuber, Ayandastood, she's my favorite. I haven't watched her in a little bit just because I've been really busy and I've been kind of in like a not consuming space. I've been in a creating space, so I go through periods where I'm not consuming a lot. But when I was in a little bit of an incubation period, I was still working at my last job before I quit. I would listen to her videos on the way to work, on the way home from work, because it just kind of, she echoed and mirrored what my soul knew. But it's just nice to hear from another point of view. It's nice to hear from a different voice and from her own essence, and her connection with God is such a beautiful way, and it really, really resonates with my own. And so I enjoy watching her because I can just see myself talking to myself, and it's beautiful. It's lovely. I love it. Yes. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. But it seems like a lot of her content is kind of centered around the fear of being seen and this kind of tug of war we have with our own energies, with our own essence, and sometimes not feeling fearful, letting it out, letting it show, letting it be seen. And I've seen this in my life. I've seen this mirrored in other people's lives. And I have a quick story that I think is interesting. It's interesting. I dated a girl, and there was a moment where we were just we were playfully at home, and she was trying to scare me. My back was turned to her, and she pursued me because she was trying to, I was distracted, and then when I turn around, she'd be right there or something. So she was trying to scare me, and she was trying to set that up. And it's funny because I don't know if maybe I felt her coming or if I just was turning around for another reason. Regardless, I turned around prematurely and saw her in the act of trying to scare me, but before she was fully set up. So you wouldn't think about it. You would just think this is like a playful moment that you kind of laugh at. Like, oh, she caught you. You tried to catch me, but I got you. It was a little reverse. You think that would be it. But when there are other things at play with our energies, when our energies are in knots and binds, these small things can trigger real things in us. And that moment was very vulnerable for her because I saw her, and this is where I learned something new about her. I saw her in a moment where she did not want to be seen. I saw her in a moment that she did not expect to be seen, and her guards were lowered, and XYZ. And this might sound crazy to some, but that's how I kind of processed this information. And she was so deeply uncomfortable. She felt vulnerable. She cried. She cried. And so obviously this moment, this playful moment, turned into a real, like a sit down moment. What is that? What are you feeling? Interesting. She probably discovered something about herself too, because she wouldn't expect to cry at something like that. So that was surprising for her as well. And I thought it was just a powerful display of how dynamic the human experience really is. You know what I mean? The things that affect us below the layer of awareness, the things that are bothering us and kind of buzzing, and without us knowing, without us realizing it. But yeah, that was a display of this fear of being seen. How, it made me kind of think, Where does that come from? Where does that come from? This not wanting to be witnessed in our true form, or in a form that was not curated, you know? Where does that need and compulsion for curation, maybe for the sake of acceptance, maybe that's where it comes from. Maybe it's a survival thing, because it strikes people to their core when it's, entrenched upon, when it's violated. It strikes people to their core. Embarrassment, shame, I can only theorize, but I would theorize that this comes from some kind of underlying emotion and feeling of shame, possibly shame that lives in the body. It doesn't have to be valid shame. You know what I mean? A lot of us carry shame just naturally. Maybe it's genuinely a natural occurrence because we're a social species, that we want to be connected, a part of the group. So we naturally, we feel for our survival that we need to be a part of the group. So we kind of naturally assimilate in small ways and try to mirror what the group dynamic is. We become the group. We become part of an organism. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily a bad thing. I think that's a brilliant survival mechanism to help a group of people become one when they need it. From a survival standpoint, I think it makes sense that we'd be able to kind of get rid of our personal quirks, put our differences aside for the sake of being this unit. I think that is engineered in us, that we become a little less authentic for the sake of being more optimal, becoming a more optimal part of the group. Does that make sense? So that's how I see it. And when you think of it that way, it's not a bad thing. It's this neutral thing. However, we are living in a time now where we're evolving. We don't need to bind together for survival. We do, obviously, in other ways, but not in that carnal, physical way as our ancestors did. So we'd actually benefit today from being able to hold our authenticity and to stay our own selves when we come into groups with people. And that would be the best way to evolve, right? To stay authentic and to bring 100% of our full selves to these groups, and then we just learn to appreciate each other's differences. That is the best way to live and grow and evolve and continue to expand as a species, I would think. It's raining pieces of tree. It is raining pieces of tree. But anyway, yeah, I think that's where that comes from. Maybe that's why we feel a little bit of shame if we're different. I don't know. I have no idea. That's just a theory. But maybe that's where shame comes from. We feel like we should be like them to make the group work. Maybe there's a little bit of delusion there. I don't know. But so many of us must carry some bit of shame or something, dude, to make us fearful of being seen, to make us cry when someone sees us in a way that wasn't positioned for them to see. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't set up for you to see me. I only want you to look at me when I'm like, wait, turn your back, let me get propped up. Okay, turn around. Now you can look at me, Like, that's living in some of our subconscious minds. And I think with everything, those little thorns, they have ripples. And they affect how we move throughout the world, the things we do or don't do, the opportunities we take or don't take, the things we're afraid of versus the things that we move toward. So I think it's important to notice these little things in our minds, in our bodies, in our nervous systems, and just slowly, over time, with no pressure, work to massage them out. What I don't want this to be is, those like self-help gurus where it's just like, do it by this time. It's like time bound and stressful and kind of scarce in its delivery sometimes. Yeah, it's not that. This is an evolution, and things grow slowly, right? Everything around us grew very, very, very slowly and incrementally, but it obviously made a difference. So there's no need to rush. It will become. The fear of being seen is something that I'm obviously working through by proxy of talking about it and sitting with my thoughts. It's interesting because I think, really and truly, for me at least, conquering this fear of being seen is a gateway to so much. And that is what Ayandastood knows, or what Ayandastood understood. It's a gateway to everything. When you have access to your full vitality, your full power, your full essence, when you aren't ashamed of yourself, when you've let the shame leave your body, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on releasing whatever subconscious shame that's lived in me for so long that I feel a resistance toward being. I don't know. It's interesting. It's very interesting resistance. The other interesting thing about it is that I think it naturally changes depending on the life stage you are for some people. It's odd. I feel like I've always had this duality because I have memories of being a kid and being very. I have memories of being shy, moments of being shy, but then I also have moments of feeling very confident. I have memories of speaking on stage to a crowd of people and feeling locked in and knowing what I was doing. I have that memory. But then I also have a memory in college of choking up during a presentation and needing a glass of water, but then immediately after crushing the presentation. So I just have all these weird dual relationships with being seen and public speaking. And it kind of became, honestly, I don't think it was a problem up until college because I was doing it in small capacities. I pushed myself to do auditions even though I was petrified. I would get anxious before presentations, but then I'd always do well in them. I've always had this just duality with speaking and being seen. But then in college, I think after college, I started fixating and I made it a fear. I think, when you give something more and more attention, you solidify it as a problem. You make it bigger. And I made it bigger. And I think I started to tie my identity with this fear when it really didn't have to be like that. And in every way, releasing the fear of being seen, it's helping my art so much because it allows me to focus on what I need to focus on, which is just the frequency of what I'm trying to say. It's finding the note, as I always say, finding the pitch, staying on frequency, finding it, holding that note, and then just sustaining it and aiming to stay with that note throughout the duration of the creative process. That's the task. That's art to me. What's the frequency? What's here? It's excavating, maybe. It's observing. It is kind of passive in a way because you're receiving. It's also active in that you are trying to optimize your receptor. Does that make sense? You're trying to optimize the space and keep things pure so that you can receive the transmission in its entirety and translate it with respect is how I see art. And if you're fixated if you carry shame about how you present, how you are seen, it's going to be difficult for you to focus on the frequency because you're going to be thinking about outer perception. You're going to be thinking about outcome. All these things that really should not be the highest priority. Those things should be very, very low on the list. And the frequency, the point of it all should be the priority. But when you have fear and shame pressing in your body, creating nervousness and anxiety, it can be hard to gauge what should be of the most priority. And it can create a blockage in your free flowing creation. And the last 3 years is just evidence of that. I managed to create things, but looking at it, I was not flowing in my creation. The way I can get into a drawing, the way I can get pen and paper, lock in, and I'm flowing, I know what I am creating. It's just a matter of a flick of the wrist, you feel me? I didn't have that with my videos, with my content, with some of the things. I did have it with writing. I did have a period where I was writing a lot and I was able to be really locked in with my writing. I got to get back to that. But basically what I've learned is that I essentially need to feel that same level of flow that I feel in drawing with everything. Like with all my arts. As a multidisciplinary artist, I have this gauge. It's like now everything that I want to do, I have a standard for the way I want to feel when I'm engaged with it. With my visual art, I know what it feels like to know what I'm doing. I know what it feels like to have a concept and to get it out on the page and to transmute it to the page. I know what that feels like. And yeah, so now when I'm writing, I'm like, no, I need to be locked in. I need to be in this pocket. I'm not at that pocket yet, And so now I can kind of gauge when something feels right. And it's important to kind of release those shames and release those things in the body so that we can flow completely. And then honestly, what Rick Rubin was saying today just kind of resonated with me, talking about, he was kind of talking more about success as an artist, being successful. And being successful to me, and I believe to him as well, is just getting the thing through, getting the thing through where you can feel the resonance. You feel the frequency like, yes, I did that. Yes, it's out. I did it. Great. But then there's also public perception or reception, public reception, how people see it and take it in. And he was kind of just saying, that is a thing too. And it just so happens that there is overlap where when you connect to the frequency and you allow it to just be you without and blocking out all those other external things in the world that you think about, when you can allow it to just be you, then it is uniquely you. Then it is like none other than anything else. When you get comfortable connecting to your unique frequency, the one that literally only you have on the planet, if you can just swing into that, you have the unlock to everything in your reality. So it's kind of like your key. It's kind of like your key. It's just locking in with yourself. It's like everyone has kind of been born with the key inside, and that is their God. Like we have our own little piece of God in us, and it's just like, get to it. And if you get to God, bro, you're good. What else is there to worry about? When you've like found your inner God, things will just flow easier. But I think a lot of people are estranged from their inner gods, from our inner gods. I say that because I feel like I've been estranged from my inner God for years now, and I'm getting back to her. But it just makes so much sense. Like even if you like to think about these things strictly from a creative success lens socially, okay, if that's what you want to do, that is also fine. That's also fine too. Like if you want it to be well received, you want people to like it, that's fine too, because that the answer is also the same. It's to connect to the frequency. All that matters is the truth. Because ultimately, you won't really feel joy if you made something that's not truthful, that's not real, and people like it. Because then it's like, oh, they like it, but that's not even me. So it's not like they like me because it's not real. And that's at least how I see things. So I feel like even if my aim is connectivity with others in the world around me, I got to get to my frequency. Like I got to get it to what's real so that the people who resonate with it, I know that you're actually resonating with me. Like, oh, okay, cool. You're my people. We're locked in. That feels way better. That feels way better than making something that's like not really you, or it's a few deviations away from you and people love that. Then it's like, oh, you love my mask. Oh, that's so sweet. You love my mask. That's great. That's what a lot of us are doing unconsciously and not realizing that that's not going to hit the same. It's not going to hit the same. How is it going to hit the same if you're faking? You're not being authentic. So you're putting out something that's only a percentage of you and people love that. How does that, I mean, for some people that might feel good because you're willing to just fake it for life. And I don't know, fake it till you make it, or maybe I don't know. But I just feel like, what if you could just be like, what if you could just be 142% yourself, and that actually be the greatest outcome imaginable for you in whatever avenue? You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know. Some thoughts on being seen, just healing. I'm outside. I'm in a field, y'all. I'm out here with the trees. I'm in the park. I got some air on me. There's butterflies. There's leaves. There's bees, but I'm not tripping because I'm zen today. I'm zen Desi. I turned over a new leaf. You feel me? Pun intended. But yeah, it's just healing in public and getting my frequency right, listening, answering the call, responding. When Source tells me to get up out of bed and drive to some random park and start talking, you obey. You do it. And I'm cute. So, like, what's really good? If you like this video, subscribe, like, comment, do all the things. Show it some love so that other people see it, so that it gets out a little bit more. You know? Like, if you rocked with some part of it, just rock with it. Someone else will rock with it too. Just send it. Just like it. Just comment. Check in. Be like, hey, girl. Be like, hey, Desi. Say, hey, girl, you cute. You could do that. You could just do that. Every Friday morning at 8 a.m., lock in for another episode of The Art Realm. And I just appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. That's really all I had.